The sea of glass had shattered, but the world it left behind was broken. Captain Lewis stood on the bridge of the Venture, his hands white-knuckled on the railing. Beside him stood Sarah and Andrew. They looked the same. They breathed the same. But they hadn't spoken a word since the black water hit the deck.
Sarah, I need those coordinates. We're drifting toward the center of the dead zone. Sarah.
Sarah turned slowly. Her eyes weren't the hollow pits he'd seen in the mist. Not anymore, but they were flat. Like a photograph of an eye rather than the real thing. She didn't check the GPS. She simply pointed toward the horizon, where the sky and sea merged into a single, seamless gray. Suspicious and terrified, Lewis retreated to the security hub. He locked the heavy steel door and pulled up the playback from the engine room, the moment the glass shattered.
Show me Andrew. Show me what happened when he went below.
On the grainy monitor, he saw Andrew. But the footage was glitching. Andrew wasn't walking. He was stuttering across the frame, his body leaving behind trails of black ink. Then Lewis saw the impossible. Andrew walked directly toward the main engine block, a solid 5-ton mass of steel. He didn't stop. He didn't collide. He simply walked into the metal. His shoulder disappeared first, then his torso, then his head, sliding through the steel as if it were nothing more than a dark curtain. There was no sound, no resistance, just a man being swallowed by an engine that shouldn't have been there. Lewis ran to the engine room, his heavy boots echoing on the metal grates. The air here was freezing, and the smell of ozone was replaced by the scent of wet earth.
Andrew, if you're in there, answer me.
He reached the engine block. It looked normal, but when he pressed his hand against the cold steel, his palm didn't stop. It sank an inch into the metal. The surface felt like cold, thick gelatin.
It's bigger in here, Cap. The ship, it has a basement. It goes down for miles.
Lewis recoiled. He looked at the pressure gauges. They weren't measuring PSI or temperature anymore. The needles were spinning wildly over strange symbols, moons, anchors, and a single recurring word: consume. Lewis realized the Venture wasn't just merging with the Mourning Star. It was being eaten by it. The modern technology was being digested to fuel the supernatural engine of the ghost ship. He ran back to the bridge, but the corridors were changing. The hallways were stretching, the fluorescent lights turning into hanging lanterns that flickered with a green, sickly flame. He passed the infirmary, and through the glass, he saw Brandon, the diver from episode 1.
Brandon, we have to go. The ship is...
Lewis stopped. Brandon wasn't in the bed. He was standing in the corner, his face pressed against the wall. He was vibrating, his body flickering between a modern wetsuit and 18th century rags.
The Tide Stalker, it doesn't want our bodies, Cap. It wants our sequence. It's replacing us one pixel at a time.
Lewis burst onto the bridge, desperate to grab the emergency radio. But the bridge was empty. Sarah was gone. Andrew was gone. Even the steering wheel had turned into a weathered wooden helm encrusted with barnacles. He grabbed the radio. He cued the mic.
Mayday! Mayday! This is the Venture. We have multiple crew vanishings. The ship is compromised.
A voice came back through the static. It was his own voice.
This is Captain Lewis of the Venture. Everything is fine. We have just sighted land. Don't listen to the man in the engine room. He's already gone.
Lewis looked at his hands. They were starting to turn translucent. He could see the floorboards through his skin. From the corner of his eye, he saw a shadow move. A towering mass of black water and ancient, unblinking eyes. The Tide Stalker had finally stepped on board.
The captain is losing his grip on reality, and the crew is being replaced by something that doesn't belong in this century. Is Lewis the last human on the Venture, or is he already a ghost? Hit the subscribe button and turn on notification for episode 6. The myth of the Tide Stalker, where the crew discovers they aren't salvaging a ship, they're being served as the main course.